Art Business Workshop. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that going on 6+ years, which means I've been spending 6+ years trying to figure out how to solve the problem that you're all on this call trying to solve, which is, how do you grow a profitable art or photography business in today's day and age? Not an easy task. In addition to that, I've been running essentially 3 of these workshops, sometimes 4 a week since before the pandemic started, so a year and change now. And almost a year and a half now I think about it. And you do that, and pattern recognition becomes a real thing. I don't think it's hyperbole when I say on a week in, week out basis, I talk to more artists and photographers than probably just about any human being on the planet. I bring that up to say, I've heard it all, I've seen it all, and I think I can help you. And as a final, we have 5,700 or so customers, I believe, at Art Storefronts, and we really pretty intently and intensively study pretty intensely study their data. Who's selling the most originals, who's selling the highest volume of originals, who's selling the most commissions, who's selling the most prints, metal prints, acrylic prints, who's the best at Facebook, who's the best at Instagram, who's selling the most courses. And all of that combined, I think, gives me some unique insight. And, whether you ever become a customer of Art Storefronts or not, I want this session to be valuable for you. I want, when you leave, to have some actionable steps that you can potentially bolt into your business, take some forward steps towards growing things. So, yeah, that's what I would say on all of that. Agenda for the day. So I have a little presentation that I like to give that kind of lays out how we think about things, how we think about an art or photography business needs to be, needs to go, should go. And it sort of sits on top of our demo process. Our demo process is essentially the test drive without the cheesy salesman. No offense if you're in the car business. But the demo process itself walks you through all the bells and whistles of the software and how everything works and the back end and all the stuff you wouldn't see if you saw somebody's site, as well as like the marketing support and the education and the regular support and everything that we do. And it's like an hour process. I like to take advantage of these calls, and it's one-on-one. They get to know you, they look at your art, they learn about your business. It's a cool experience, and it's extremely no pressure. And at the end of it, you're like, yeah, that was cool, don't ever call me again. They will never call you again. If after the end of it, you're like, okay, great, I want to sign up, you can sign up. There's no pressure in that situation. But I sort of like to go into this rant, into this presentation, because it sits on top of the demo, and there's some sort of important ways that we look at the art and the photography business world right now in 2021. So I'll start the presentation. As I'm rolling along on the presentation, there's a chat at the bottom of the Zoom. There's other members of my team in here. So if you've got a question and you just want to get it out of your head, you can throw it in there, and I'll either deal with it directly at the end of the Q&A, or my team, if it's easy, will answer it as we're rolling along. For those that are watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I see your questions. You can ask questions too. We'll pull them into the stream, and I can answer you guys directly as well. And what else? I'm going to mention a bunch of things: videos, links, reports, this, that, and the other. And a lot of times we'll throw the links to those things inside the chat, but don't feel like you need to click on them or save them or whatever, because once the presentation is over, what we do is we send you a link to a web page that'll have all the links that I mentioned to any resources, follow-up resources, anything like that. And then you can just click them and download them and do whatever you want with them after the fact, as well as a video of the replay. So, all right, on that note, we can get started. Let me move myself over here and pull this thing up. So I have this thing that I've come up with called the art selling pyramid, and I really do believe it's a path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. And so there's sort of some foundational things. I call it a pyramid because I stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Not sure if you're familiar with this, but the concept is you got to sort the blocks at the bottom before you can move up to the next one, right? It's a climb. And, in Maslow's case, he talks about physiological needs, which are daily needs, quotidian needs. You need to eat, you need to sleep. All of us as humans need to do that every single solitary day. But, as you move up the pyramid, you work on safety, love and belonging, esteem, self-actualization, all that jazz. Fantastic. So, okay, the art selling pyramid starts at the bottom block, which is attention, okay? Attention. And by which I mean attention is the currency of the land that we live in right now. Every single solitary person on this call needs more of it. I know this conclusively because every single solitary art storefront's customer needs more of it. It doesn't matter whether you're knocking on the door of $1 million a year business. We don't have a lot, but we have a few like that. They want to grow that business to $5 million. To do that, they need more attention. If you're just getting started, you need attention. You need eyeballs on your art. And a lot of people gloss over this one. And attention, by the way, comes in two forms, rented and owned. The owned attention is the one that can't be taken away from you. It's email addresses, it's snail mail addresses, it's phone numbers. If you're doing text marketing, the rented attention is Instagram followers and YouTube subscribers and Facebook fan page fans, or anywhere else that you're marketing. And fundamentally no different than in Maslow's situation, where the physiological block, the eating and sleeping, we all have to do daily. If you want to be successful, you need to focus on getting more attention daily, literally daily. It's the most important thing in an artist or a photographer's career, essentially, because sadly, and bums me out to say this, but it's true, whether or not you as an artist, you as a photographer is going to be successful has nothing to do with how good you are at your craft. It's not a meritocracy on how good of a painter you are or how good of a photographer you are or whatever medium you work in, because the best art doesn't win. The best art that gets seen wins. It is a meritocracy first on how good you are at marketing, because if you don't get the eyeballs, you are never going to make it. And that is just fact. And, it's an important truth to understand. And what do I always say on these calls? If I were to ask you, who are some of the most powerful women in the world, who would you say? It's a lot of ways to answer that question, right? Yeah, David knows because he's seen me do this before. But it's the Kardashians, okay? And why is it the Kardashians? Because these women understand the attention is the currency of the land, okay? They have amassed a massive amount of it. We can all argue morally and ethically how they went about obtaining that attention. But what we cannot argue about is the fact that none of these girls have flown commercial in the last 10 years. They all have $100 million, bajillion dollar businesses in various different niches. And to really bring it home, any of the one of them, okay, even the mom could decide to become an artist tomorrow, could decide to become a photographer tomorrow, start selling and have a 100 million, not 100 million, but have $1 million business year one. And is that fair? No, it's not. But that just underscores the rules of the game that we live in right now, where attention is currency of the land. Okay. So quotidian need, got to work on it daily. Yes, it means marketing. Yes, we'll get into it more later. The next block up has an outer part and inner part. The outer part is understanding the business model, and then fundamentally understanding how important a collector list is. And hold on, I'm going to grab my little book here. Sorry, I have small children that like misplacing things in my office here. The business model is you have to sell direct. You have to sell direct primarily because you need to retain the data on your customers, okay? So you need to be selling where there's no one in between you and the end person that buys the artwork from you. Excuse me. And the reason that you need to do that is so you can build a collector list. Now, the collector list is a concept I stole from Weiland. If you don't know who he is, he's the whale art guy. He's what most people would say the #1 selling artist in the United States. Apparently, it's not even close. This guy knows what he's talking about. This book is fantastic, by the way. Mega thin, mega quick read. And the only pain in the butt is you can't order it from Amazon. You have to order it from his site. But highly recommend you buy this book. It will help all of you. Mega easy read. And just, you want to take this guy's advice. He's the #1 selling artist in the U.S. He talks about the importance of a collector list. And in Weiland's jargon, he defines it as someone that buys an upwards of 8 pieces from him over the course of their lifetime. So he keeps making art. He keeps having shows. They keep coming back and buying again and again and again and again. And he goes in detail, some detail in the book, sort of tactically about how he treats these people like VIPs, how he goes above and beyond, how these people are on his, Christmas card list, personalized emails, all the various different things that he does. But boy, is he right about the concept of the collector list. My goodness. I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time now, and it is one of the, if it is not #1, it's #2. It's either the #1 or #2 most important metric in determining the value of an art or photography business, the size and health of a collector list, okay? And the analogy that I give, which I think works really well, is you guys are all just commission salespeople at the end of the day. You make art. You go out and sell it. If it sells, you get a commission, right? And you can have good years and bad years, but you're just commissioned. Okay. When you have a collector list and when you start taking care of a collector list, you go from being a commissioned salesperson to a commissioned salesperson with a base salary. Okay. You still get paid on commission, but you have a built-in base salary that you get just for getting out of bed in the morning, that you get just for creating. And it is so critical to a business, especially long-term. I can't even begin to tell you. And you know, what ends up happening early on, and let's just pick simple numbers to keep the math easy. Let's say you come out with a new series. It can be a new series of photographs, a new series of paintings. There are 10, okay, in this particular series, in this collection. And you're going to unveil it to the world on a Wednesday. And on a Monday, you email your collector list and you say, hey, patrons, thank you so much for your support in the past. I really appreciate you. I just wanted to let you know I'm coming out with a brand new series. I'm going to debut it to the public on Wednesday. Because you are such loyal supporters, I wanted to show it to you before anyone else got to see it. No pressure whatsoever to buy. It's just my way of saying thanks for you supporting me. And what happens is it starts out small. Maybe 1 out of the 10, so 10% of what you've created is bought before the public even sees it, but it starts going up pretty quickly from there, and the next thing you know, you go from 10 to 20, and so 2 out of the 10 are bought, and then it goes up to 50, 60, 70%, and you try to get it to 100%, meaning 100% of the works before it even hits the market, before the public can even get it, your collectors have snapped it all up, right? And I haven't really seen 100%, but I've seen pretty close to it in certain instances, and fundamentally, you know, I don't even know how many artists week in, week out that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, and they didn't understand the business model and they never built a collector list. And, you know, the gallery relationships that they relied on have crumbled. And now what do they have? They're at the top of their game and they have no one to sell their art to, right? So understand how important a collector list fundamentally, just critical. I'll get into it later on some other levels. So if the outside of the block was the business model and the collector list, the inside of the block are the 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art and photography. I believe every artist, every photographer needs to understand the 3 and be prepared to deploy the best one for the situation, okay? And the number 1 best way to sell art, what is it? Trick question, you guys already all know this. In person, face-to-face. This has always been the case. It always will be the case. It's never going to change. The problem there, we are all of us geographically fixed on this earth. We all have to eat, sleep, and we can't have 25 conversations at once. So the next best way is on your website, right? The website solves for these aforementioned problems. The newest way, number 3, the way that the entire art world, e-commerce world is trying to figure out right now, the newest, latest, greatest thing, pretty much the greatest advancement in selling art since forever, as far as I'm concerned, is exactly what we're doing right here. It's via live video, either one-to-one or one-to-many. Let me talk about one-to-one. I check out Matt's work on Instagram. I'm very interested in it. I send Matt a DM on Instagram. I say, Matt, I saw your work. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about acquiring a piece. Do you think we could get on a Zoom call? Matt goes, no problem, Patrick. Let's schedule it. I jump into a Zoom call with Matt. Matt has some of his work right there. He's showing me the pieces. He's merchandising them. He's talking about what his inspiration is. I'm starting to get to know him, what makes him tick, feel like I have a bond and a relationship. That's the one-to-one instance. It works just as well as it does in the one-to-many instance, okay? The one-to-many instance is what we call the live art show, right? And the instance behind you is a longtime Art Storefront's customer and friend. He is in his garage studio, and he is streaming live on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on his personal Facebook page all at once. He is holding up the pieces. He is talking about them. People can leave comments wherever they're tuning in from or all around the world. And after the fact, you can email it to those that missed. Now, this particular gentleman, in this instance, he had 2 of these basement sales. And again, I'm going to send you the links. You can watch these later. 2 sales over a, I think, 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian. Now, this was all work that he had stored in his basement, hence the in-basement sale. And so it was some of his older stuff, not his latest and greatest. But you can see people are leaving comments. And, you know, I'm interested, on and on and on it goes. And this is the most revolutionary thing to happen to not just art and photography, although massively, but the entire e-commerce world is all doing this in varying different instances right now. And what we've done more than anything else is just done one after another after another. And this example that I give, she was moving from, and her name is Meg Knappenberger, she's a painter out of Kansas City. She was moving from one studio to another. And so she had like 80 pieces. Not all of them were big. Some of them were like color studies like this, right? And, various different pieces to warm up the real piece. And in this instance, I think 80 pieces in the show. She ended up selling 72 of them. She ended up running the live art show on a Wednesday. On a Monday, like my previous example, she sent the entire show to her collector list, and her collector list bought 46% of the show. There were some bigger pieces that she had in there too. But since then, we've done one after another after another. You do enough of these, you start learning the various different trade craft, how to price things, how to approach things, how does it work with the photographer versus how does it work with the painter. And it's absolutely the future of selling art. And we're not the only ones that are switched on to this. Like, your industry is not one that has a ton of reports. I really like this one. It's called the Art Market Report from Art Basel and UBS. And I'll send you the link. You should totally check it out on your own time. That's the wrong link for it, actually. Where is it? Download the Art Market Report. Here it is. As sort of a disclaimer, these reports, there's like 2 big ones in your industry a year. And this one and one other one from this group called the Hiscox Group. These people really only survey the top 5% of the market. So like a very, very small portion of all the artists and photographers that are out there working. But what's really interesting, excuse me, and this is the table of contents in the report: the global art market, dealer sales, auction sales, art fairs, online sales, global wealth and collector perspectives. So one of the things that they talk about in this report, and again, I'm going to send you the links to this so you can check it out, is how much art was sold to what they call HNWs, high net worth individuals, over the last year in what they call OVRs, online viewing rooms. Do you know what OVRs are? A snotty way of calling a Zoom call something else, okay? It's a video chat with the high net worth individual, with the artist or with the gallery representative that's doing the sales, and a tremendous amount of art was sold to high net worth individuals all throughout COVID, leveraging this technology, okay? And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about this Art Basel stuff at the very, very top of the market, or we're talking about the person who's never sold a piece at all and they're just trying to get started. This is absolutely, full stop, the future of how art and photography is going to be sold. And it is so insanely effective, I can't even begin to tell you. And the abstractions, the permutations, if you like, of how this works. I mean, my same buddy here, who I've done a tremendous amount of early testing, I'm trying to find the one, during the peak of COVID, here it is, he actually had an art show booked in a gallery, okay? And obviously, not massive attendance because it's the middle of COVID, but people were able to go to the show with masks, but, his attendance was super down because nobody could travel. So what do? The day after the show ended, he grabbed a glass of wine and his tank top here, and we turned the cameras on and walked through the show that was actually hung in an actual art gallery, took questions live, let people see the pieces, explaining which ones were sold and which ones are not. So the permutations of what this looks like, okay, of what the future of selling art in photography is absolutely this. And I get so passionate about it, so fired up about it, because we're not the only ones figuring it out, right? Like, if you go into Amazon right now, you almost can't escape the fact that Amazon is basically letting anyone run their own QVC channel on Amazon. You talk about the products that Amazon has, you do your own live video broadcast, and they'll even put you on the bottom of the product page. You'll start seeing it all over Amazon. Facebook is beta testing a bunch of this right now. Quite literally, the entire e-commerce world is trying to figure out how to leverage live video for selling art and photography. So we're really, really excited about it. We consider ourselves, Art Storefronts, one of the pioneers of this particular technique and tactic, at least as it pertains to the art world. And we're literally running thousands of them. We have ones running today, and we're never going to stop because it's the future. It's amazing. The top of the pyramid, the last bit, is what we like to call everything else. So if you are understanding that attention is so critically important, you need to work on getting it all day. Once you've figured out the business model and you're building and maintaining a collector list, once you are bolting into your operation the 3 ways to sell art, on top of that is literally everything else. Have a brick and mortar retail gallery that's working for you? Fantastic. Keep it going. Love revenue sources, but in addition to everything else. Doing the show and thayer circuit worked out well for you. COVID's pretty much clear. It's back in action. Fantastic. But do it in addition to working all the rest of the steps of the pyramid. Online gallery, whatever other revenue sources you have, it all comes on the top, in addition to the various different things that we have here: attention and the business model and the 3 ways to sell art. And fundamentally, that's how we believe. I mean, it's like, you know, what I say in the very, very top of this thing: the path to a successful art business in 2021 and beyond. It just is. It just is. And fundamentally, everything that we do relies on this pyramid. Everything that we teach, everything that we instruct our customers to do. It's just sort of how we roll. And as a final, you know, there's a lot of people that come on these calls, and there's going to be a lot of people on this call today that are in this situation. You know, you've been an artist for a number of years. You've been a photographer for a number of years. You did not understand the business model. You never had a collector list. If you did, you never took care of it. And you're like, I want to grow an art business. You know, I want to be able to retire on this. I want to be able to quit my day job and not have this be a side hustle anymore. I want to stop being a hobbyist. Well, guess what? You have to understand that business model. And it can be deflating if you didn't understand that business model, and all of a sudden you have to start learning modern marketing. And the final slide I should have, I'm going to add it in there next time, is just understand the perspective of how much time you guys have to get this right. You know, week in, week out, people's in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, sometimes even 90s. Like once a month or twice a month, I'll get somebody in their 90s and they come in there asking questions. And you know, do this for enough time and you come to find out that artists and photographers don't have midlife crises and decide they want to run off and be a truck driver. You don't change jobs. You guys are forever creatives. That's just how God made you, or whoever you decide made you. And I see it time and time again. So for a lot of you guys in this call, you're like, man, I don't want to go back into the trenches and learn marketing and build a following. Like, you know, I'm in the peak of my career. And I'm here to tell you, I know, it sucks. It sucks. First couple of years suck especially. You're pulling your hair out of your head learning all these new digital tactics, but it's the future. It's the way that this has worked. It's the way that, you know, even if another COVID variant comes up 3 years from now, you will still have a business. You'll still be marketing all the way through it. And sort of underpins everything that we do. So we can talk more about the various different aspects of it, or building a collector list, or whatever you do. But that's my rant. I'm sticking to it. So we can open it up to the Q&A now. A couple of different ways to do the Q&A. If you were one of the brave ones that has your camera on and you want to just raise your hand, you've got a question, we'll see that. I can unmute you. Otherwise, at the bottom of the Zoom window, you know, there's a reactions button, right? And if you click the reactions button, it'll let you raise your hand. You can see how I kind of did it right there. If you have the participants window open, that lets me know you have a question. I just kind of take them from top to bottom, and we'll unmute you. Get you on, get you to ask your question. If you don't want to be on video, you don't have to be on video. I hate being on video. I totally get that. So you can just ask your questions via audio if you like. And if you want to throw your question in the chat, you can. And then, like I said, if you wanna leave your question on Facebook, you can do that. You can see Olga's left one. Hi, how is payment and shipping processing work? Thanks for your info. So you know why you guys are summoning the courage to raise your hands as I poke at you and prod you a little bit. How does payment and shipping process work? So multi-parts to that question, Olga. Payment, you know, everyone has their own merchant account. Everyone uses Stripe. The merchant account is tied directly to your bank account. So if you get an order on your website, which we provide, the money goes directly to your merchant account, directly into your bank account. We are not involved in that at all. In terms of the shipping processes, if you are selling originals, obviously you're responsible for shipping those, or commissions. If they're prints, we have POD. We have a print house on the East Coast, print house on the West Coast, print house in Canada. It's a one-click integration. You pick which one you want. You pick which media types. An order comes in, Olga. You get paid. The printer gets paid. The order gets shipped. Your logo gets slapped on the side of the box, and off it goes to the customer. You don't have to touch anything, which is print on demand. But you know, if you're inclined to want to do it yourself locally, you can actually do it that way too. We have just about every option imaginable available in that capacity. But yeah, that's what I got. That's my presentation, and I'm sticking to it. What about questions? Because only Matt and David have their cameras on. They're the only two that I can pick on right now. David, do you have a question? Matt, do you have a question? Matt's got one. All right. I'm going to unmute you, Matt. You'll have to hit your mic icon, Matt. It's like in the bottom left-hand corner. Oh yeah, I'm off video. Thank you, Juan. I'll let you know when you get it. Got it. You got it.
Got it. Okay, cool. So I lost your visual,
Yeah,
and
I'm back
I'm
now.
stupid enough with Zoom that I don't know how to get you back. So
Do you see me now?
I do not.
You probably changed your view or something. Well, you might just have to listen to me.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it. I have some unique um, art in terms of presentation when it comes to websites. I have some vertical panoramas that are
Mm-hmm.
I usually print 13 by 38,
Whoa. Okay.
and on things like Instagram and Facebook and those types of social media marketing approaches doesn't really present very well.
Yes.
Even on a website, it's a little bit unique in how it presents. I assume that with that instance, there are people on the team there that can help me with best ways to present that if I were to.
Yep. All day.
Build a
All
website.
day. It's actually less of a limitation than you think it is. You know, it's a little bit weird when you get into the walled preview tool, which I'll show you in a second. You'll have no problems with it with our augmented reality tool. But a lot of times, I think when you're presenting that, I mean, what do your pieces start at?
Well, they're just starting. That's a whole new series of work. I've
Okay.
sold a couple of them for $500, but
Okay. Yeah, it's not as big a limitation as you think. There's lots
okay.
of ways to skin the cat on that.
I also have another series of work. I'm mostly a street photographer, so it's a lot of
Okay.
black and white, 35 millimeter. I've been doing it for 30 years, and I'm finally just quit my job and my real job, and this is my real job now.
Good for you.
And but I have other work other than pictures of drag queens and gritty New York scenes that I
What's
think
what's
people would.
what's the Netflix documentary? The longtime fashion street photographer guy just recently died. I thought that documentary. You know, he was like a fashiony guy, but he was constantly on the streets, super quirky.
Oh, are you talking? You're not talking about Abaddon?
I think
That's an
Billy
old documentary.
Billy Cunningham. Maybe is that him?
Oh yeah. He
Yeah.
photographed all the New York Times
Yeah. That
fashion trends
that
with a
documentary
point
is
and
so
shoot
interesting.
camera from his bicycle.
Yeah. Super interesting.
He's super famous, but can't afford. He couldn't afford to live. He just died. He got kicked out of his apartment. Anyway,
Yeah.
I also have this other work that is color and abstract, and I've wanted to present work in galleries or in people's homes where people can interact with the art. So they're
Mm-hmm.
diptychs, they go together.
Yep.
And then the opportunity is that I want people to reach out and pick up the work and turn it and change directions. So you have two abstract art pieces and you have two images that can be turned four different ways, and just it's almost kaleidoscope-ish,
Yep.
but
Yep.
nature-based. Is there an option to present that in a sort of a live or interactive way online
That's
through
certainly
Red
less.
Auction?
That's certainly less straightforward in terms of our technology. Sort of what you're asking for is like a virtual reality type of an experience, um,
Right.
which you could get done and then as a video embed it. But I would just say from my experience, and take this with a grain of salt, of course. But I'm a massive technology nerd. Okay, a huge
Right.
nerd. Always have been. I'm very optimistic about what VR entails for the art world and for just our world in general. It ain't there yet. It's not even close. It's a long way off, and I would not waste even 30 seconds of your time. Now, let me tell you where I'm coming from with that. I would not waste 30 seconds of your time because I've looked at all the examples. I have seen zero bump in conversion rates. I have seen zero sales that are deriving out of that. All it does is introduce friction in a process that already has a ton of friction. So
Right.
I just wouldn't do it. I mean, it's not to say that you couldn't, what I would do if I were you, no joke, is I would take a couple of the pieces, I would hook them up on a wall somewhere with the spinners on the back, and I would film myself spinning them, showing your vision. That's what I would do.
Right.
I'd grab that thing as a YouTube video, I'd throw it right on the product page, and off I would go with that. That's how I'd do it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I see it as taking pictures of the many different configurations and letting people choose just to see how they can move it. But
Yeah.
my idea is that I want people to walk into my house and I can say, hey, see that over there? I want you to touch it. I want you to interact with it.
Yeah.
I want you to change it the way that it looks good to you while you're in my home.
Yeah.
And it's something I've always wanted to do, to break down some of that. Oh, I can't get past the rope, or I can't cross the line to look at this art. I want people to actually grab it.
Yeah, I'm tracking with you, and I love it. I love it.
So thanks for that. I have a peripheral question. I saw the name Robert Dawson on the list here.
Okay.
Is it possible that this is the Robert Dawson that did a Water in the West project in California, some in the 80s or 90s?
Robert, you'll have to, you'll have to chime in on the chat on that one. You never know.
If so, I did a workshop with him up in Anchorage 25 years ago.
Amazing. If that's the case, that's gonna be a heck of a kick
thanks
off to
for
the
your
Friday.
answer, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you. I'm definitely not trying to pronounce your last name, but give it to me anyway.
I can't even do it. It's pronounced Malarchik.
Malarchik.
But it means master of the hops, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's very cool, and right up my alley. I love me some hops. All right, thank you. Good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll show you. So Morgan was asking me, and I might as well unmute Morgan, and then I'll do this little show and tell. And this will apply to you, master of the hops as well. I'll show you. Morgan, are you there? I'm going to unmute you, and what I'll do. So Morgan was asking sort of the difference between the wall preview and the AR, right? The augmented reality. And so what I'll do is I'm going to pull up an artist here, and let me get you out, get myself out. So the wall preview is the tool that puts the art on the wall, right? And so if I'm on a customer site here, he painted the dude. If I click wall preview, it projects it in various different rooms. Now, I get that we've chosen some cheesy room displays here. We do that by design because we want the art to stand out rather than, the other stuff. You can change these images if you're so inclined. This is like one of the features. So people can pick the various different sizes that you offer, and then they can pick whatever color their walls are, right? So, that's the wall preview tool. And Matt, in your case, this might get a little sticky with your giant pieces, right? That part might be a little bit weird. But what's cool, and let me just pull this other one. Hold on, it'll take me just a second. The augmented reality tool is it sort of solves for these situations. And just bear with me. I'm going to pull it up here. Wasn't prepared to do this, but I will get there in just a second. Where's my little search bar? There it is. Even my pop-ups have pop-ups. Stop it. All right. Live preview. So what's cool about this one is, you can do this without an app download, meaning your regular Android phone or your regular iPhone work right out of the box for this. And so what happens is that you visit. Everything is just buggy for me today. Why is that not playing? That's really lame. I don't know why that's not playing. Juan, will you check this link in yours and see if it's playing, see if it's just on my end? I'm going to put it in the chat for you, Juan. It's right there. Try that. Anyway, if this video is working, what I would be able to explain to you is, it really sucks that that's not working. I don't know why that's not working. And maybe Juan, log into Wistia and see if you can find the video and then send it to me, and I can circle back and show you. I don't know why that thing's not playing. My computer's just bugging. I see there's a video here. I go to press play and nothing. Oh, that's totally lame. So I don't know why that's not working. We'll try to get to the bottom of it for you, Morgan, before this thing's over. Anyway, the long and the short of it is you go to the product page with your phone. You click a button, and the iPhone uses the camera, and it takes the artwork, and he puts it right there on the camera, and you can zoom in, zoom out, show it on the actual wall. And the video really helps in terms of the visual display on that. But it's really, really effective for the consultative sale, getting the sale over the line. I don't know if this thing's going to fit. And, in Matt's case, even though he has a huge piece, they're just going to have to be able to stand far enough back from the wall to be able to actually see it. But we'll get to the bottom of it and I'll be able to send you that video. Oh, here we go. He sent it to me.
You put the camera on your own house and then pop the art object into it.
Yeah, so here we go. Here we are on
Nifty.
Artist and let me mute this. So, this is the actual product page, right? And it's an actual phone on the right-hand side. And so you come down here and you click Live Preview. And again, you don't have to download any apps at all, which is great. It just works. And it says hey, can I use the camera? And you say allow. And so this is a real house that the phone is seeing, right? This is just the camera on the phone, and you can size the work up, size the work down, move it around with your fingers, take screenshots, right? And you can see whether or not is the piece going to work with the color of the walls, is the piece going to work with the furniture, what size is the best one to get. So it's really helpful in my experience for like the consultative sale, more so than somebody just coming to the site, although it works across the board. But you know, when you get like the pushback, like, well, we just don't know if it's going to work on the wall. And then I would say, well, Morgan, you don't even know about this tool that we have. Let me walk you through how it works, right? You can see the artwork in real time on your wall. And oh, by the way, you don't have to download anything. Just pick up your phone. Do you have a smartphone? Everyone has a smartphone, right? So that's how that works. And make a follow-up one on why the heck this isn't working here. That really fries me out that that's not happening. But anyway, those are the differences, Morgan.
Okay, and something called side by side is also related to this, or?
No, I'm not sure what side by side is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different thing. But
Anyway,
yeah.
thanks. That was very clear.
Oh yeah, no worries. It's my pleasure. Okay, I had another question, and it was from. Hold on, I'm finding it. Oh yeah, so it was from John. And John, I'm going to unmute you because there's inevitably going to be some follow-up in this. You're in here twice, John, so I'm not sure which one to unmute. I'm going to just try and unmute both of you. And you just have to hit the mute button. Essentially, he's asking about NFTs, which are known as non-fungible tokens. It's a cryptographic way to sell the copyrights and embed smart contracts. And obviously, it's been all over the news recently as a big this, that, and the other. Sort of our official position on it, John, and you know, I would say that both the CEO and I have been like long-term crypto guys. Buy it, hold it, buy it regularly. Check the price is probably too much. Love it. Love what the blockchain portends. I've checked my account multiple times today, actually, because I'm fascinated by it. But you know, the minute that we saw it, we attempted to go through the listing process, what it looks like. We listed a couple. We had a couple customers that sold a couple. The long and the short of it is it's just a distraction right now. It inserts so much complexity into the art buying process. And while I think there is some awesome to it, I love what the future of it portends. It's a distraction right now. And like anyone that's been in crypto for a long time, you know that there are booms and busts to just about anything, right? And in terms of crypto, it's in the winter right now. And NFTs are like crashing. And so I like it. It's an expansion of the art market. As April's sending here, the CEO and I did like a full rant on it that I'll send you, that you can kind of get our position. You know, NFTs, are they the future of the art business? And talked about some various different things. So that's what I would say about it. I don't know if you've got a follow-up question. I would be more interested, John, to talk about this next part. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thanks. And I'm interested that you experimented a little bit.
Oh, 100%. This is one of the fun things of the job. It's like, you know, I have this sort of, what would you call it? A way of preventing myself from getting caught up in shiny object syndrome. Okay, and the minute that you hear about some new shiny object, you instantaneously forget it. And you just get it right out of your mind. You don't even let it bother you. And then you wait until you've heard it 5 times. And at the 5-time mark, you go and you see if the people that you really trust as a marketer are saying things about it. If they are, it's worth exploring. Then we go and explore. And if it's yielding any sorts of sales, wonderful. We start really exploring it. If it's not, we immediately run away from it. And part of what we do as an organization, as a business, Art Store Friends, we are as valuable in the things that we teach you to do as we are valuable in the things that we tell you to ignore. Do not waste 1 minute of your time on this, right? And that simple advice on the various different aspects is so doggone important. It is so important because you know, you're not chasing the next latest, greatest shiny object, which we all have problems with as humans. What I love about the NFTs, just because it's Friday, I want to rant on it. For those that don't know, it's an NFT is a token on the blockchain, sort of like Bitcoin, okay? And you can buy this token, and let's get it out of crypto for a second. The token, at the end of the day, is basically just a contract, okay? You can embed a contract in there, and you can say, okay, John is selling to Patrick this particular piece of artwork, okay? And Patrick's going to pay $1,000 for it. And here's a certificate of authenticity, which is essentially this coin and the contract. And in it, it can say, if Patrick ever goes to resell this, John, the artist, is entitled to 10% of the resale value, right? The resale price. And so, okay, fantastic. There's a contract. By buying it, I've agreed. But look at the law markets in international and contemplate the lawsuits. Do you know how hard it is to get a lawyer to sue for anything? Like, first of all, you've got state lines, then you have international lines, and then you have, this country, that country. Like, so what are you going to do if somebody violates that? How the hell are you ever even going to know? They could sell it without the token, right? So it's just so early days, and all the hype happened and all these people started running in there, and I'm like, look, guys, if your art is not selling in the easy markets, how do you think it's going to sell in the markets that are like insanely difficult, right? Like, just not going to work. So anyway, enough with the NFT rant. I really enjoy it though, and I love what it portends, and I think what will be even better is, if John's a digital artist, and this is the other misconception. You got me fired up about this. I'm just going to finish it off. The misconception is that if I buy the NFT, okay, that the artwork comes with it. The artwork doesn't come with it. All it is a crypto token that has a contract in it that says Patrick bought the art from John. John still has to send me the damn JPEG. How do I know I'm the only one with the JPEG? He could have backup copies of it and be selling it to other people, right? So it's flawed that way. Here's what I think is awesome, and not enough people are talking about it. If this token, okay, has a contract in it, what if John, as an artist, said, all right, guys, I'm selling 10 tokens to get my art business going. The contract in this token says the holder of the token gets first right of refusal for all new works that I create for the rest of my life, right? If anyone wants to sell that token, I am entitled to 20% of the resale. And so you sell those 10 tokens, right? Or whatever I said. So it's 10 tokens. Let's say you sell them for $1,000 a piece. You start growing as an artist. Every time you come out with a new series, the contract says that you need to show the works to me before anyone else, and I get to decide if I want to buy them or not, okay? But contemplate how rad that is and what else you could potentially put in that contract. And then contemplate you keep growing as an artist and getting better and getting better and getting better. And me, because I supported you early on and spent $1,000 on this token, it's now worth $10,000. It's now worth $20,000, $25,000, and I have another asset to sell. That's awesome, right? And that's an amazing way to support an artist. But at the same time, if all my collectors were US based, I wouldn't do it with a damn token. I would just send you a contract. Like it just puts so much friction into the process. And I love it. And I love crypto. I want it to be, I want crypto to be the next layer of the internet. I want it to destroy all the social networks. I should say that I'm streaming on them, but you know what I mean? I'm very pro blockchain. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Good explanation.
Yeah.
NFTs get a lot of publicity, but they're picking on the unicorn events, I guess.
Exactly. And everyone hears the unicorn events, and God bless artists and photographers. They will latch on to any unicorn event that could possibly exist, as long as the premise is, wait a minute, I can just create my work and not do any marketing and make millions of dollars. Where is it? How many times do they just next one? I'll just tell you guys, there is nothing out there in which you just create work. Do not do any work on your marketing and have the big business, okay? That is the biggest bunch of bullshit that has ever been sold to anyone, and it infuriates me. So it's a distraction. Pay attention to it. It's fascinating. But at a macro, I think it's a distraction. So that's what I'd say. Thanks, Sean. Okay. So hold on. I saw one other one. All right, Derek, I saw your question. Hold on. Was there someone else? I got John's. Okay, Derek, I'm going to grab you. I'm just going to unmute you in case you have follow-ups too. Where is Derek? Derek Eddy. Okay. Why Derek's getting unmuted. Approximately how much time investment is the building of the website? Is there a network of web designers for the art storefronts available for hire? So here's the beautiful thing, Derek. It depends on your technical acumen, but you're not doing any design at all. Yes, you can pick some fonts, but all we want you to do is pick the fonts, the size. You can have a few little color selections, put your logo up, and that's it. And you should have it up in 14 days or less. And I don't want you spending any time on design, and I don't want you spending any time monkeying around with CSS or any of the rest, because you don't have a website problem, Derek. You have a marketing problem, right? So, our websites out of the box work, and you don't need to spend any time like getting a designer. That's part of the problem, not if you want to have a business. And you're unmuted. I should be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So besides design, what about customization of just your individual imagery?
What do you mean by customization? Kind of define it.
You say 14 days approximately to build a website.
Mm-hmm.
If everything's sort of out of the box,
Yep.
where do the 14 days come in?
That's just an average of what we have based on our customer base. Like we try to get everyone live in 14 days or less. Some people do it in a weekend. Some of the tech challenged, it ends up taking months. But you know, the abstraction of it all is like the website problem is solved for you. Literally, all you need is a logo, an About Me section, your images, your prices, and what media types you want to offer it on. That's it. And then your website is done. You can work on it again in a year. Start solving the problem that you really have, which is actually going to bring revenue into the business, which get going on the marketing.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Easier said than done, though, right? I mean, I've built tons of websites, and how many of them have I just been, you know, I'll just get this thing launched after I just do this and this and this, and then I'll just get this launched after I tweak this, this, and this. And meanwhile, nobody's coming to the website, and I'm not getting any feedback. And, you know, this thing's going to sell a bunch once I just finish this, this, and this. And then, you know, it just drags on and on and on. So we try to prevent that at all costs. And that wasn't me picking on you, Derek. It's just a macro trend. Luann says, is this easy for someone who has no idea what they're doing? We all have no idea what we're doing, Luann. We just get better and better at it every day. Yes, it's just a plan that anyone can follow and anyone can roll with. Okay, Matt is asking, what percentage of your clients use a specific web platform as opposed to attaching your product to an existing website, Squarespace? The software, and I'll unmute you again, Matt. The software is really, really sophisticated in some of the things that it does. And so we have, let's just say, 2 schools of people. I would say 9 out of 10 people just use ours. 1 out of 10 are in a situation where they just spent so much time, energy, and effort on building this old website up. And it's like, I will, you know, they're holding on to it. I will not let go of this website for anything, right? You know, I'm never going to touch it. And you end up following our marketing advice. And over some period of time, over the next month, you realize, why the hell am I holding on to my website? I would never be here if the website was working in the first place. I would have never signed up with Art Storefronts if the website was working in the first place. It's not. So I'm going to get rid of it and use Art Storefronts. And we have so many of the marketing features built deeply into our software. And I'll give you the for instance. Everybody's been into an Apple store, right? So we have a proprietary cookie that we call, what do we call it? The detective, I think. We have some snazzy name for it. I don't even really care what the name is. Anyway, it's a cookie. It's a line of code that tracks visitors on your site, okay? And the analogy I give is the Apple Store analogy, because everyone's been into an Apple store. This little feature of our software, it would be a video camera that's sitting up on the top of the Apple Store. And you, Matt, walk in to the Apple Store. You pick up an iPhone. You set it down. You pick up an iPad. You set it down. You pick up a MacBook Air. You set it down. You buy the iPhone and you leave, okay? The camera saw you do all that. And our software pops a box up and sends you an email and says, or sends me an email in my example, hey, Patrick, Matt just walked into your store. He looked at the iPhone. He looked at the iPad. He looked at the MacBook Air. He bought the iPhone and he left. Here's the email we think you should send. Boom. The email's already all populated. You can make edits as you see fit. The email would say something along the lines, hey, Matt, thank you so much for buying the iPhone. I can't wait to ship it to you. I couldn't help but notice you were also checking out the iPad and the MacBook Air. You probably weren't aware of this, but we have a special first-time buyer discount on items for 3 or more, in which you could have taken 15% off. So if those are things you want to acquire and you want a little bit better of a price on it, I can take care of that for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for the business, something along those lines. And you can just hit send, or you can make edits, right? All that happened automatically. You didn't have to touch anything. You're not going to get that on Squarespace or any of the other ones. And so there's 50 different features like that work like that. That being said, we also have like a ton of commercial photographers, right, that have commercial businesses. And, you know, they've had commercial businesses for a long time. And, you know, I'll pull one up, so I'll show you. So some people do the bolt-on thing, right? And let me just get the share up. So it's loading. My internets are just super slow today. Super lame. So, okay. Buddy, customer Tim Lehman. He's like Nat Geo, BBC, you know, the birds, the orangutans, the whole thing. And he's got like, you know, an entire career of like a stock archive back when that was the day, right? And he's got his portfolios and his projects, and all of this is on his main domain, Tim Lehman. So when he goes to sell his fine art, boom, it's a subdomain. You know, Tim Lehman Fine Art, in his case, he should have done a subdomain, and that's where his store is. But he still keeps his main site, right? But all of the art sales are going down on this site, which is one way of doing it, and the way a lot of the commercial photographers will, or the way some people that are just like, look, I love my website, I'm not getting rid of it, will do it. But that's the long and the short.
That's great. I appreciate that. I put a lot of effort into this website, but it's not doing anything for me other than reminding me how much effort I put into it.
I know.
So the marketing thing is what's missing, as you know.
Yeah.
And so
and it's not,
trying to
Matt,
figure out how to transition.
It's not a knock on you. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, I don't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify, who I love, okay, who is the biggest company in the nation of Canada in terms of market capitalization, that's how successful they are, has a stat that says like 99% of Shopify store owners fail. And everyone's fed this line of BS that somehow if you just make if you build it, they will come, right?
Yeah.
Complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. And the thing that breaks my heart, and I've done it multiple times myself, so I'm not pointing the finger at you, we waste so much time on things that are never going to move the needle. The only thing that mattered was the marketing, right? The website doesn't even matter until you have enough eyeballs actually coming. So, yeah,
right.
You don't have a website problem. You got a marketing problem.
Right. I understand that. So I also have, while we're chatting, I talked to Nate at length yesterday, and that was very helpful.
Yeah.
I appreciated that conversation.
In hindsight, would you rather have heard what I had to say first before you listened to the whole? Did you go through the whole demo and the whole thing?
No. We haven't done a demo
yet.
Good.
Okay,
I'm about to leave the country for a few weeks, and I'll be back in the country at the end of the month, and I'm gonna
do it then.
I'm gonna talk to him then when I'm a little bit more focused.
Yeah. Where are you going? Where are you going if you don't mind me asking?
I'm going to Oaxaca to photograph the Guelaguetzel Festival. I do a lot of street photography, and I also do some abstract color stuff along with that as a sidecar sort of thing.
Oh, are you going to eat some good meals down there too? That place is emerging.
It's so good. I was there for Day of the Dead a couple of years ago, and it's a wonderful place.
Oh, it's coming up as like the food spot in Mexico. But anyway, okay, keep going.
So I probably can't afford to. He talked to me about pricing. I probably can't afford to dive right in at the top level.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
AR and all that stuff.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay.
The bottom level.
I'm concerned with. Am I investing $1,000 in something that is sort of going to be milquetoast and sort of mediocre for me, or
no? So the bottom plan. Okay.
Yeah.
You get 100% of the marketing teaching, which is all you need, right? Like you are going to have to spend a year just learning how to market. Everyone does. No one knows how to do it, right? And there's all these fundamental aspects of it. And the analogy I use is we need to teach you to be able to do 100 push-ups in one sitting, right? And anyone that's ever tried to do that, you realize that's really hard to do. Like unless you're a Marine, you're not going to do that. So how do you do that? You do 10 at a time until you can get to 20, and then you do 20 at a time until you can get to 30, and then you do 30, And what are those? First, we need to teach you to capture emails. Then I need to teach you to email those emails. Then I've got to teach you how to post on the socials. Then I've got to teach you how to run a sale. And there's a lot to running a sale. There's how you tease a sale. There's how you announce a sale. There's the hand-to-hand combat, the personal reach outs that you do during a sale. There's how you contemplate discounting. There's how the email language dovetails with the social language, which is what we call omni-channel marketing, so you get the most exposure for your sale. How to run a live art show. There's like a bunch of different steps in there as well. So all of those things take time. It takes like a year to for most people, let's just say, to like fully get up to speed and get good at that. And one of the things that you realize fundamentally is if you've done this for enough time is that this entire year for an artist and photographer that's trying to grow a business is no different than the typewriter. The end of the year is when it just spins back. It's normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale. The year repeats, normal marketing, sale, normal marketing, sale. Year in, year out. It's the exact same thing. It never changes. And so all of these things that you need to learn fundamentally. And guess what? All the fancy bells and whistles on the top plan, you're not even going to be able to take advantage of it until you have enough traffic coming. Okay? And that's marketing. So you start in on the marketing. The first year, I do not sugarcoat things, sucks for most people. You have a lot to learn. You're going to want to pull your hair out of your head sometimes. But guess what? It's the future. It's the only thing that works. It's the one thing that no artist and photographer wants to do. So guess what happens when you do it? That's where the gold is, okay? And you just get better and better and better year in, year out. It never changes. And so that's the ball game. It's really what we do more than the software, to be honest with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. And have fun down there. I want to hear about it afterwards. I really,
Yeah, I will.
I had a trip planned there that just got pulled off the books, but I was down. I was in Baja last weekend and had a blast. So,
We were supposed to be at Day of the Dead last year. My wife runs retreats down there, and I go down there and work. And that got canceled, of course, like everything else did. So
yeah, which is a bummer. Okay, I'm gonna put you back on mute, or maybe you might need to mute yourself. All right, Tom Harris, are you there? I'm gonna unmute you. The microphone's in the bottom left hand corner. Tom, if you want to come on. Tom was just asking, if he's a retail gallery. Yes, you can 100% be a retail gallery. It's extremely effective, just as effective, I should say, for an individual seller as a retail gallery. There's very little distinction between the two, so you can do that all day. And Derek's asking me about pricing. So the pricing starts at $999 down, and then there is a monthly fee, which I believe is like $49. I don't know the pricing in detail just because I've never taken the time to learn it. I don't really care. We have a base plan, and then we have the top plan that's got like bells and whistles, and then they bundle multiple years into some of them. But the abstraction, the way to think of it is, a website's not enough, but we do give you a website because a website's very important. Just like any other website company, we charge a monthly fee for the website. But you don't have the website problem. You have a marketing problem. And so we are essentially, yes, we give you a website, but we're an art business university. We're an art business university that never has any graduates because the marketing changes so fast that you need constant education. So what does that look like? We have a calendar that tells you 365 days a year what to do, when to have the sale, when to regularly market, how to announce the sale, the email language. On the calendar, if we're asking you to do something, post on Facebook, post on Instagram, do an Instagram story, run a live art show, whatever it is, we'll have detailed step-by-step education that we call playbooks on that. That's DIY, go at your own pace. And I might as well unmute you, Derek, just in case you have any follow-ups. So you can hit your mic icon on the bottom left. In addition to that, we have basically classes just like this Zoom session. So we take the entire customer base and we essentially split it into two. There's a third group, but I'm not going to go into it. Until you get over $2,000 in direct sales from your website, you're in the beginners group. Once you get over $2,000 in direct sale, you move up to the next group. And we run Zoom sessions like this every Tuesday, every Thursday, week in, week out, all year long. And so what happens is we'll teach you whatever we're trying to teach you, whatever's coming up on the calendar that week. Hey, everybody's running a live art show. Here's how you run a live art show. And then it's open Q&A. And everyone asks their questions, and people share their wins. And so it's just cohort-based learning. It's like you're going through a class. In addition to that, we have tech support that's available 6 days a week, and you can jump into a Zoom session 6 days a week, including Saturday. And not only can you say, hey, guys, I'm stuck with my website on this, that, and the other. You can say, I'm stuck with Facebook. I'm stuck on Instagram. I'm stuck with MailChimp. I'm having problems with these. Our technicians even support you on that, which is pretty amazing. There's not a lot of companies that do that. And I'm talking about face-to-face Zoom calls, right? Not heavily accented 27 button push phone IVR trees, right? Like every other support structure has. So that's essentially what you're paying for when you sign up for us, because you guys all have a marketing problem and it's not going away. Did that sort of explain it, Derek?
Yeah. Well, so as the levels get higher, what more are
it's bells and whistles. It's bells and whistles on the website, like in terms of features, and then a lot of what we do is like 5-year plans, and the 5-year plans you get like a much better deal, and that's why some of them are like more expensive. Like some people will drop $5,000 just to know, the really interesting thing, and there's no way to hear what I'm about to say and not come at it with this cynical vibe, but let me just say it anyway. You take it for what it's worth. Every other provider out there, right, for the most part, free trial, $29 a month, right, or start for free and then you can upgrade later. There's no buying commitment to any of those things. So it's sort of like a gym membership that costs $5 a month. Like, I'm not going to go, right? Okay, well, what if you had a gym membership that cost you $1,000 a month? Like, you would start feeling guilty if you didn't go to the gym, right? So what we find on the people that buy like the older plans is the higher ticket plans is it's essentially burning the boat, right? It's like there's no going back. Like for once, I'm actually going to take the marketing of my business seriously. And not only am I going to take it seriously, I'm actually going to do it consistently all year instead of market hard for a month and then quit for the rest of the year, right? So like where you aim your wallet is where you aim your heart and your motivation. So that's an interesting factor of it, but that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Robin's asking, does Art Storefronts own the website? No, we own absolutely nothing. That's part and parcel of why this industry is so screwed up. You guys don't own anything. You own the website. You own the URL. You own the merchant account. You own the bank account in which the funds get deposited in. And so if you want to quit tomorrow, you take with you your URL, all of your web traffic, your email list, everything. The artist with us owns everything. We own nothing at all, which is how it should be, right? Especially the doggone customer database, which is the most important thing. So yeah, you guys own everything. Olga's asking me an interesting question. Let's see if this will pop up on the screen. Let's see if you guys can see this. I'm going to have to take myself out of it. What art sells best, or artist that makes the most sales this year? So Olga, that's a utterly, totally, and completely flawed question. It's a reason it's a flawed question is because the premise underpinning it is that there is some sort of magical formula that will work for everybody out there and allow them to grow a big, successful art business. There are variations of your question, Olga. How many hours a week is it going to take me to work on my marketing? What are the best-selling sizes? If I just knew what the best-selling sizes were, I would have a huge art business. What are the best-selling media types? If I just knew what the best-selling media types are, I would have a huge business. And the premise is just completely flawed. Every single solitary artist we have is on their own journey, their own path, and there's very little that explains the success from one to the other. Let me give you some teeth to that one. We have a guy on the platform, extremely talented at what they do, has 1.3 million followers on Instagram, 1.3 million. We have a gal on the platform, very successful at what she does. She's got 5,000 followers on Instagram. They both have the same size email list. Which one would you rather be? Obvious question, right? Well, the results are not, because the gal outsells him like 7x to 1. It's not even close. How do you explain that, right? How do you explain that? There's no explanation for that. The point is, Olga, there's no formula. Everyone takes a different path. There's no one thing that works for everybody. There's no mathematical equation, dollars per subscribers. Everyone is so all over the board when it comes to this stuff. It's sort of one of the things that makes it awesome, actually, I think. So, yeah. That's what I got. Guys, any other questions? Any other ones? Last minute, could be about anything. Close out the Friday in style. All right. While you're contemplating it, Matthew's got another one. Okay. You put in, is that Matt? Matt, is that you? Raise your hand if it's you again. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Unmute my audio.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Yep.
I'm learning the Zoom. Yep. Art Storefronts doesn't show up in the URL.
No.
Correct?
No.
It's just Matt Malarchik Photography or whatever.
Exactly.
Right, cool.
Whatever you want it to be. I mean, just like.
I appreciate this. Thank you.
Yep. No problem. Okay, Lori, you're up next. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah. What if you have two mediums? Like I've gotten into photography and I'm painting. So I don't want them to compete with each other, but then again, a time management thing. What would you say on that with artists that have more than one type of medium?
Yeah. So this is another one of these nonsense things that people get hung up on so significantly. Like, I have multiple different mediums. Which one should I launch with? I have multiple different mediums. It's a huge problem, right? I can't have two different mediums. What's that going to look like? And it is so nonsensical. It's unbelievable. There's two things. One, early on, you don't have any idea, Lori, what's going to sell, which one's going to be your big hit. And let me tell you, I've seen this every which way. You could launch with both of them, okay? And we have our standard issued Pareto's law, which means 80-20, which means 80% of your revenue is going to come from 20% of the pieces. Okay. At that point, after you've done it for a year, if you get that scenario, you can say, okay, in terms of my photography and my art is giving me 80% of the income. Maybe I should go all in on my art, right? But it could be the other way around. And it could be an utter, total, complete mixed bag. And you could sell a little here, a little over there, and a little over there. That's number one. Number two, and everybody overthinks this in their head, and they never launch, and they don't ever go and get the feedback, the only feedback that matters, which is a credit card coming out of a wallet and actually buying it. That's number one. Number two, what everyone gets also hung up on is that somehow Your art is the brand, okay? And to a certain extent, your art is the brand. You know, like Wyland, right? What I showed earlier, that guy's the whale guy. Everybody knows him as the whale guy, right? But at the same time, everybody knows what that guy's face looks like. Everyone knows who his personality is. Lori Koo, who you are, what makes you tick, what weird stuff you share on social is as much a part of the brand as what you do. It doesn't matter what you do, right? You're the brand as much as the work. So the key is to not overthink it. Start marketing. See what works best. If one takes over the other and all the attention, the activity goes to that, then guess what? You have a decision to make at that point in time if you should go that way. But if not, and so the smattering of it sells, then just carry on. Keep marketing. Grow the business. I think you muted yourself again. I'll unmute you again. I don't know if you have a follow-up, Lori.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to ask you is, okay, so what would be the next step? I mean, I know some of the people have seen the pricing plans and so forth. I hadn't seen a whole lot of information other than just knowing another local artist uses your storefront. So what's the next step you would recommend as far as getting information and knowing what's right?
So we do what's called like a demo process. The demo is basically demo is like a scary word. Like, woo, demo. It's a test drive of the software. The outreach team will have a call with you. They'll get to know you. They'll look at your art. They'll figure out where you are in your journey. Then they'll take you through an hour Zoom, which is all the bells and whistles of the software, all the plans and features and pricing and back-end stuff and everything else. And then you can decide, right time, great, want to sign up, not ready yet, but interested, all that kind of stuff. So there's links to request demos in the chat here. We'll also email them to you after the fact, but that's what I would do. And then you can see the back end and everything else. But definitely do not, just as a final, do not split the two things up. Like the currency of the land, the hardest thing to do is get attention. And, I see people, well, I want to split it up. So you're going to have 2 websites and 2 different Facebook pages and 2 different Instagram accounts. It's like, don't do that. It's hard. Marketing is hard enough as is. But
thank you.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay. Tom Harris, go. And then I'll get you next, Matthew.
Yeah, hi. I have over 60 artists that I currently work with selling their artwork.
Did you have a retail spot, like a brick and mortar spot?
I do. I have a retail gallery.
Yeah.
We also have web pages, and I'm looking to grow my sales online.
Okay.
Currently, if we sell one a month, it's pretty good for us because it's just not that. And we've been doing it for 30 years.
Wow. Amazing.
Is this a good avenue for us to go down as a gallery that we work for artists?
Yes, 100% it is. I mean, let me attack it from a couple of sides, right? First, in terms of software, there's nothing better, full stop. Mm-hmm. So, if you are driving a decent amount of traffic and, you do want a higher conversion rate better than anything else that's out there, like, it's not us tooting our own horn. We've been working at this for 7 years. There's not really anyone else that has a product that's like directly competitive. Not really. So it will be way better in that capacity. But you have like sort of the double-edged sword of one. You need to market the gallery in the gallery's name and obviously acquire more high net worth buyers and collectors and everything else. But then 2, like, okay, how activist are you going on that? Right? Are you actively helping your stars market too, right? Because you've got a marketing problem, same as every other business in the United States, sadly, right? Same as every other business in the world, yeah. So you would learn to market, you would get better at marketing. I mean, let me ask you this, like, how often are you rotating new artists in and out? All the time, or have you had like a pretty solid stable for years and years and years?
Yeah, pretty solid. We maybe bring in 2 to 3 artists a year, tops.
Okay.
And not even over last year, I think I brought in 1, maybe.
Yeah. It just comes down to how much marketing do you want to do on their behalf? I mean, you can continue to market the gallery too, but yeah, I mean, case in point, you've got a marketing problem. One of the awesome things that you have, were you on the beginning of the presentation?
I was not, I got late.
Okay, so I want to show you something, and I'm really going to push your buttons on this, and that's fine, because I know you're not going to do it. No one ever takes my damn advice, but if I were you, okay, so what you would have missed at the start of this thing, let me just move my fat head out of the way. Sorry that there's doubles. So
this is what grabbed me.
Yeah.
That's right when I joined, you were talking about the video.
So let me explain to you what you're doing right now. You're going to upgrade the internet connection at your shop. Okay. You are going to put down railroad tracks. These are really inexpensive, so that you can have a dolly that pushes all the way through the entire gallery. Okay. You are going to start having live art shows in your space, which I imagine is incredibly sexy looking and has the furniture and have everything else. And you're going to change what's hanging. You're going to bring the artist in. You're going to interview them. You're going to push them through the entire thing. You're going to hit the collector list, and you're going to say to the collector list, collectors, I have the artist available. If you would like to book a one-on-one consult with them in the gallery to see the newest pieces, you can do that, and I would be ready to go and broadcast that. And by the way, all of that equipment I'm talking about, you get for like $3,500. It's not even expensive. You need a camera, you need a good internet connection, a decent mic, and you're off to the races. And I'm not kidding. We've contemplated buying a gallery because I live in Newport Beach. One south is Laguna Beach, which is like, pretty artsy place. And there is so many vacancies in there right now. I'm like, why don't we just go and buy one just to have as or take over a lease for pennies on the dollar and start running right through them. I mean, this is such a cool look when you're able to do this and you're able to walk right through. This is the next best thing to someone walking into your gallery, full stop. It's not even close, right? And getting good at this and understanding the mechanics and understanding how it all works, okay, and what the right lens is and what the right mic combo is. There's a lot of work to be done on that, right? Now, this is with someone that has no idea what they're doing holding a laptop as a camera. It's quite frankly, it's terrible. But look, the reality is that we were so early to the show on this that it's still the shiny object, right? So like, what software do you use? How do the various different things take place? The entire world is trying to figure this all out at once right now. There are no rules, right? Like, the only rules is how many of these things can you ship and get in the water. So that's what I would do. Yes, our software can help you, but you're going to benefit more from the marketing. And I run a bunch of these with my one buddy, and I usually just show him because his YouTube page is the easiest. But look at this one, streamed 2 months ago. Okay, all these other live art shows we ran with him. What was the first one? Streamed a year ago. Look, you learn lessons as you go, right? So if I show you this one, what do you notice about this one? It might be a little bit hard to see that it's coming through. The quality is terrible. You want to know why the quality is terrible? Because his partner is upstairs streaming Netflix when the damn show is going on, okay? So rule number one, you can't have anyone monkeying around downloading on your internet connection when you're running these things. So you learn these types of things as you go, and you run through them, right? So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
Very good.
You should get a demo. We can definitely help you. We definitely have some.
And what would be, because I don't even know how I got this email. I think they've been emailing me for a while, and I just came down to learn more about it. Will somebody reach out to me, or do I reach out to you guys?
Could do. We can, we'll just make it easier. I'm assuming, what is your business name? How do you think you're in our database? Do you even know? I don't know.
I don't know, because I'm down in my lower gallery because I couldn't use my computer.
Yeah. So send me a private message in here with your email, and we'll have somebody reach out.
Okay.
But they'll just ask the guys to show you some of the other galleries, so you can kind of get like a visualization of how they're doing it. And then you could take the cues from there. But again, you probably don't have a lot of people coming to your website. You have a marketing problem, same as everyone else, right? So we can give you the Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari sitting in your driveway without any gas in the tank until you start doing the marketing.
For sure.
But I love the live art show example for you. Like, you could crush that, and I'm telling you, you could do it today. You could go and grab your MacBook Air, which is sitting in there, which is the gallery special. Do you have one of those, by the way? MacBook laptop. See, do I not know my craft? And, if the Wi-Fi is strong enough, hold it quite literally like this, narrate, show some of the pieces, and just be like, look, guys, I realize everyone's still skittish and still coming around the corner from COVID. And by the way, my team's asking me, are you Gallery 505?
I am.
Okay. We'll have somebody reach out to you. Don't worry. So you don't have to do anything. But anyway, going back to it, it's like, hey guys, I realize, that everyone's still a little gun shy and you don't necessarily want to come in. So a new service that we have for you is I'm willing to book a one-on-one art consult with either sales staff or the artist himself if you're so inclined to see the new works, and then hit your collector list, right? Like, the fact that I could sit down, crack the wine, not leave my own house, sit there on a Zoom screen, have a conversation with the artist, and then potentially buy some pieces, figuratively put the red dots on them. That's awesome. That's amazing, right? That's amazing. And, you have a venue that looks insanely sexy on video, right? Which is a huge advantage to most other people. So I would exploit it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll teach you how to do it. Okay. So, Matt, You're up next, Matthew Pulowski. That's what I think. You tell me if it's wrong. Go ahead, Matthew, if you're still there. I saw him on video, then I don't know where he went. Are you there, Matthew? Okay, I don't know what your question is, Matt. Or if you're...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, got you. Okay,
Sorry.
you're right back. Yeah.
So basically, just curious about like long-term understanding is, let's just say, for example, I have a season where I set aside like a year and I produce a lot of work.
Okay.
Then I decide to travel.
Okay.
And is it possible for me to send art storefronts my work as I like remotely promote my travel or whatever, and you guys send, if something's sold, you send it, like it's somehow cataloged or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes. So in addition to everything else that we also have like an in-house marketing agency / services division. So if you didn't want to build the website, art people will build the website. If you don't want to do any of the marketing, art people will do the marketing. So the service is certainly there, right? But it's not free. It's in addition. So, you know, if you're like, look, I'm going to go travel the world for a year, I don't want to do anything. Will you just run the business? Yes, there's that availability, but it's not free.
Okay, yeah, no, of course. I just definitely was thinking like, you know, if you guys have a storehouse for that kind of a potentiality.
Yep, we do.
And yeah, okay, interesting. Very cool.
Is that your normal jam? By the way, it sounds very romantic. You paint for a year and then you go travel for a year. I want that job.
So also, just wondering, right now, what is you said, so like the website, it gets hit from what kind of a market? Are you seeing
you own
global market?
Yeah, it's not like a marketplace site that you're just like uploading your images to. It's your website, your domain. You're responsible for the marketing.
Okay.
We teach you how to do that.
So there's no such thing as artstorefronts.com.
Yeah, there is. It just talks about our software, but no, there's no market.
Oh, okay.
We're not a marketplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're basically you're basically doing all that anyway. So but each person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
The reason it's interesting is because, and Tom, I'm not picking on you here, okay? I'm not picking on you. I believe fundamentally that the most important thing an artist or photographer can have if they want to make a long-term sustainable business is a collector list, i.e. a list of people that you can market and sell to in the future, right? When you're just in a brick and mortar gallery, and again, Tom, I'm not picking on you, you don't get that information, and so you can't market to these people in the future, and so you can't even acquire collectors that come back and buy piece after piece after piece. And so, you know, all of the online marketplaces, there's a reason that they don't give you the information on the collector, right? Because that's the most important thing. So that's what I'd say.
And where is the storehouse of storefronts located in the world?
I mean, it's on servers that are all over the world, but you know, you pick the URL, and so if it's MatthewPolowski.com, that's where it would live.
Oh no, what I'm saying is where, like, if I was gonna send my artwork in and you guys were gonna package it and ship it, if it's sold.
Yeah. So no, we would just use a third party for that.
Oh, so you'd have another so that's not in-house.
No. Yeah, I mean your case is like extremely unique because most people don't do that. But there's fulfillment houses, and really you would just find the one that's closest to you because you want to be able to drive the work there, right? And you drive the work there, they would hold it. When things sell, they would ship it, and you know you pay them accordingly. But that's how it would work.
Very cool.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I think we'll leave it there. I'm running out of voice on the day. Good session today, though. I really enjoyed that. A couple of things. One, you know, if you're just finding out about us for the first time, or if you're about to head to Oaxaca like Matt is, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. We'll be around. But if you are in a situation where whatever you heard today piqued your interest, definitely recommend the demo process. Very non-salesy, very non-pushy, and it's cool to see all the bells and whistles, and then you can make your decision. And again, like, you know, this is not some pump and dump scheme. We're not going to call you 500 times if you're not interested. You can simply tell them you're not interested. Point being, I know people get all worked up about, like, you know, salesy, this, that, and the other. I hate it. You know, especially all the damn robocalls telling me my car warranty is expiring. I don't even have a car warranty. Anyway, the demo process will show you all the bells and whistles. We just did extend our summer sale, and so there's a pretty screaming deal that's out there right now. But yeah, that's what I got. Hope to see you on the inside. If not, come and see us on another session. And thanks for the time. Everyone have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Thanks, guys.